My beloved child, pause your breath for a moment and listen carefully, because what is opening before you is not random, and it is not ordinary. January 14th has been marked, not by chance but by divine observation. Archangel Michael stands watchful, and his spirit is not pleased. This is not sent to frighten you, but to awaken you. A mistake has been made, quietly, subtly, without noise, and many did not even realize it happened. Yet heaven saw it clearly. Hear this with clarity. This message is not chasing you. It is meeting you exactly where you are. Out of millions of voices, this one found you. It alone should tell you something important. There was a moment when you ignored an inner nudge, delayed an instruction, or chose comfort over obedience. You told yourself, later, but later stretched longer than it should have. Archangel Michael says that moment matters more than you know. Beloved one, do not misunderstand this tone. This is not rejection. This is correction. There is a difference. Correction comes only when you are still chosen. If heaven had given up, there would be silence. But instead, you are hearing this now, because mercy has opened a narrow window, small, precise, and intentional. Something connected to your home, your foundation, or the place where you rest has been spiritually misaligned. It may look normal on the outside. Others may see nothing wrong. But in the unseen, a line was crossed without awareness. A word was spoken. A permission was given. Or a warning was ignored. Archangel Michael does not speak lightly about foundations, because what you stand on determines what can stand with you. This is why the timing matters. January 14th is not about fear. It is about alignment. You are supposed to pause, reassess, and realign before moving forward. Instead, momentum carried you ahead while heaven waited for your attention. And now, Michael's voice rises, not in anger, but in authority. Listen closely. The mistake was not irreversible. That is why this message exists. If it were finished, there would be no call. But this is your only clear opening to correct it consciously. After this moment, the opportunity shifts form. It becomes harder to recognize. That is why you must not treat this as background noise. Beloved child, ask yourself honestly, what did you rush that required reverence? What did you assume would work out without prayer? What did you allow into your space, your home, or your plans without spiritual confirmation? These questions are not meant to accuse you. They are meant to unlock your awareness. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of order. When order is disturbed, he intervenes with truth. He says you are not being punished, you are being redirected. There is a powerful difference. Redirection means your destiny is still intact, but your steps must adjust. Pay attention now, because the correction is simple, but it requires humility. You must acknowledge the misstep, even if no one else knows about it. Speak it out loud. Realign your intention. Remove what does not belong. Restore what was neglected. When you do this, something heavy lifts almost immediately. Do not delay this interaction. Delay with the root of the mistake, and speed, guided speed, is now the remedy. Not haste but obedience. There is grace attached to prompt alignment. Beloved one, this message feels intense because your calling is significant. Small callings do not require strong correction. Great assignments do. You were marked for stability, for leadership, for protection, not only for yourself, but for others connected to you. That is why heaven is involved in the details of your life. Archangel Michael says that once you correct this, peace will return quickly. The confusion you felt will thin out. The heaviness in your thoughts will ease. Even your sleep will shift. These are signs that alignment hath been restored. Do not share this lightly with those who mock spiritual things. This is sacred instruction. Treat it as such. Respond with action, not just emotion. Let your response be quiet, firm, and immediate. Beloved child, you were never abandoned. You were interrupted for your own protection. And this interruption is proof that you are still covered, still watched, still guided. Receive this message with courage, not fear. Direction is love in motion. And today, love has spoken. Chosen one, let your heart stay open, because what is being revealed now goes deeper than the surface of the mistake itself. Archangel Michael speaks again, and his tone shifts from warning to clarity. He says the reason this misalignment happened is not because you are careless, but because you have been carrying more weight than you were meant to carry alone. Pressure clouds discernment. Fatigue dulls spiritual hearing. And when responsibility piles up silently, even the most devoted soul can miss a signal from heaven. Understand this clearly. The dangerous part was never the action alone, but the environment in which it was taken. You were surrounded by noise, opinions, expectations, urgency, and invisible stress. Decisions made in that atmosphere feel logical but lack divine covering. Archangel Michael says this is why he stepped in now. If you had continued forward without correction, the consequences would not have appeared immediately. They would have unfolded slowly, disguised as normal challenges, until you questioned your own strength. Beloved one, the enemy of your peace often hides behind being busy. When prayer becomes rushed, when rest becomes rare, when silence disappears, alignment begins to slip inch by inch. Michael wants you to know that heaven does not demand perfection, but it does require presence. You were present for others, but not fully present before God. That imbalance created the opening. This is why January 14th matters so much. It is not just a date. It is a spiritual checkpoint. A moment where heaven asks, are you still listening? And because you are here now, the answer is yes. You responded. I alone shifts the atmosphere. Archangel Michael now instructs you to reclaim authority over your space. Not with fear, not with ritualistic panic, but with calm certainty. Speak peace into your home. Speak order over your plans. Speak clarity over your mind. Words spoken with faith realign what drifted without your awareness. You do not need anyone else's permission to do this. Authority was already given to you. Listen carefully to this next truth. Some of what you blame on external resistance was actually internal exhaustion. You were fighting when you were meant to rest. You were pushing when you were meant to pause. Heaven tried to slow you gently, but when you did not respond, the warning became firmer. That firmness is what you are feeling now. Beloved child, do not carry shame from this. Shame is not from God. Correction is clean, shame is heavy. Release it. You are not behind. You are being repositioned. What looked like delay was actually protection. What felt like pressure was actually preparation. Archangel Michael reveals that once this correction is completed, the door opens quickly, not slowly, but quickly. Something you thought would take months begins to move in weeks. But this acceleration only happens after alignment. Speed without alignment creates loss. Alignment first, then momentum. This is why your response today matters so much. Do not just listen emotionally and move on. Let this message change how you approach your day. Slow your reactions. Guard your words. Choose peace even when urgency tries to pull you. These small shifts create massive spiritual stability. Now hear this with clarity and confidence. If this message is resonating deeply, it is because your spirit recognizes truth. And if your spirit recognizes truth, others need to hear it too. This is not a private warning only for you. It is a signal meant to reach those who are drifting silently. When you engage with this message, by liking it, sharing it, and leaving a comment, you help push it into the path of someone who desperately needs this same correction. Subscribe to this channel so you stay connected to these divine reminders. And if your heart feels stirred, join the community here where this mission continues daily. Your action amplifies the reach of God's voice. Archangel Michael adds one more thing before he steps back. He says distraction will try to pull you away right after this. You will feel the urge to scroll, to postpone, to say I'll deal with this later. Recognize that feeling. That is the moment that matters most. Hold on, because what is coming next brings precise instruction that ties everything together in a way you do not expect. Stay present. This is where clarity becomes power. Beloved soul, receive this with stillness, because Archangel Michael now draws your attention to what was hidden beneath the surface all along. The mistake was not loud. It was subtle, layered inside routine, wrapped in familiarity. That is why it went unnoticed. Heaven is revealing this not to overwhelm you, but to free you. When something remains unseen, it quietly gains strength. Once it is exposed, it loses authority. Archangel Michael says the root of this misalignment began when boundaries softened. Not physical walls, but spiritual ones. You allowed access through conversations, thoughts, influences, or environments that did not honor your assignment. It did not look harmful. It felt harmless. But even harmless things, when repeated, can dilute clarity. Michael is precise about this. Your spirit is sensitive by design, and sensitivity requires stronger boundaries, not weaker ones. Hear this gently but firmly. You were called to be a carrier of peace, not a container for noise. When too many voices surround you, discernment becomes blurred. You began reacting instead of responding. You began explaining instead of standing firm. None of this makes you weak. It proves you care deeply. But caring deeply without guarding carefully creates imbalance. Archangel Michael now invites you to reclaim what was slowly surrendered. Start with your inner space. Your thoughts must return to stillness. Your words must return to intention. Your decisions must return to prayerful confidence. Do not try to fix everything at once. Restoration happens step by step, layer by layer, just as the drift did. There is something specific Michael wants you to understand. Heaven does not accuse you of failing. Heaven acknowledges you were faithful under pressure. That is why divine recalibration is necessary. You were never meant to navigate this season alone. Guidance was always available, but you were moving too fast to receive it fully. Beloved one, Archangel Michael reveals that the correction you are making now echoes backward and forward in time. It heals what felt unsettled in recent days, and it also safeguards what is coming next. This is why your obedience today carries multiplied weight. One aligned decision now prevents many complications later. Do not underestimate the power of conscious repentance. Not dramatic, not heavy, but honest. A simple acknowledgement before God realigns spiritual order. Say it plainly, mean it fully, and then release it completely. Heaven responds instantly to sincerity. Michael also says something important about your home and your rest. Peace must return there first. When peace returns to where you sleep, clarity returns to where you decide. Light a moment of silence. Remove distractions. Invite God's presence intentionally. This is not ritual, it is relationship. And relationship restores authority. Beloved child, you may feel emotion rising as you hear this. Let it rise. Tears cleanse perception. Relief signals release. Do not suppress what your spirit is processing. This is healing in motion. Archangel Michael stands near, not as a judge, but as a guardian, ensuring that what is being restored remains protected. Now listen closely to what follows. Once this alignment settles, you will notice a shift in how people respond to you. Confusion decreases. Resistance softens. Respect increases. This is not because you changed who you are, but because you returned to who you were always meant to be. Alignment speaks louder than explanation. Michael wants you to stop replaying the moment you missed the sign. That season is closed. What matters now is response, not regret. Regret looks backward. Obedience moves forward. Choose forward. Beloved one, you are not late. You are on time, because heaven set the appointment. This message arriving now is proof of precision, not delay. Receive it fully. Type "I receive divine order" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Lesson code 1443 has now been released over your life. As this word settles into your heart, hear this final invitation with clarity and purpose. I am speaking to those who feel called to help this light reach others who are still searching. When you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link placed in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are sowing seed into souls that need direction. The Lord says, as you pour oil for my message, I will keep your vessel full. This act of giving is not ordinary. It is obedience aligned with heaven's timing. Do not hesitate when the Spirit nudges you to act. I declare that every seed released now will return as peace, clarity, and open doors. Step forward and do it now, with faith and authority. Beloved one, take a deep breath and settle into this moment, because Archangel Michael now speaks about what happens immediately after alignment is restored. Many people think correction is the end of the process, but in truth, correction is the doorway. What follows is stabilization, and stabilization determines whether the blessing can remain. Michael's voice is steady here, deliberate, because this stage is where many grow careless again. He says that once peace begins to return, the temptation will be to move fast, to make up for lost time, to push forward with renewed energy. But wisdom is required now. Alignment creates momentum, yes, but momentum must be guided. You are entering a season where your choices carry extra weight. Not pressure, but influence. Small decisions echo louder than before. Beloved child, Archangel Michael reveals that the spiritual atmosphere around you has shifted. You may not see it, but you will feel it. Conversations will feel different. Certain distractions will no longer satisfy you. Some people may even drift away without conflict. You not chase what quietly exits. What leaves now is making room for what can stand with you in alignment. This is important. Do not interpret silence as stagnation. Heaven often quiets the environment right after correction so that new instructions can be heard clearly. If things feel still, that stillness is intentional. It is a protective pause. In that pause, discernment sharpens. Michael warns gently that old patterns may attempt to return out of familiarity, not necessity. You may feel the urge to handle things the way you used to, even though you have outgrown that approach. Recognize that urge without judgment and let it pass. Growth often feels uncomfortable because it removes familiar coping mechanisms. Beloved one, there is a strengthening happening in your spirit right now. You are becoming more rooted, less reactive, more aware. This strength does not announce itself loudly. It shows up as calm confidence, as patience where there used to be anxiety, as clarity where there used to be confusion. These are signs that alignment is holding. Archangel Michael says something crucial here. Protection increases with obedience. When you walk in alignment, you do not need to fight as much. Resistance decreases because authority increases. This does not mean challenges disappear, but they lose their power to destabilize you. You stop being shaken by every wave. Now listen carefully. Michael reveals that a test of consistency is approaching. Not a dramatic one, but a quiet one. You will be given a choice to either honor what you have learned or to compromise it for convenience. This moment will feel small, but it is significant. Choose alignment even if it feels inconvenient. Especially then. Beloved child, remember this truth. Obedience is not proven in moments of crisis, but in moments of comfort. When everything feels calm, that is when discipline matters most. Guard your time. Guard your thoughts. Guard your peace. These are not restrictions, they are protections. Archangel Michael also speaks about gratitude. Gratitude seals correction. When you acknowledge what God has just done, internally and externally, you anchor it into your spirit. Say thank you, even if the outcome is still unfolding. Gratitude is an act of faith. You may notice dreams becoming clearer, intuition sharpening, inner nudges becoming more distinct. These are confirmations, not coincidences. Heaven communicates more freely when alignment is restored. Pay attention, but do not obsess. Trust develops naturally when you stop forcing outcomes. Beloved one, Michael wants you to know that you are being repositioned, not replaced. Some people fear correction because they think it means loss. In your case, it means elevation. But elevation requires stability. That is what this season is building. Do not rush to explain your journey to others. Let fruit speak. Let peace speak. Let consistency speak. Those who need to understand will understand in time. Those who do not are not required to. As this part of the message settles, feel the difference in your spirit. The heaviness is lighter. The urgency is calmer. The fear is quieter. This is not emotional imagination. This is alignment taking root. Archangel Michael stands watchful still, not because danger remains, but because growth is happening. Guardians stay close during transitions. You are not alone in this. You never were. Receive this stage with patience. Walk steadily. Stay aware. What is being built now will support everything that comes next. Beloved child, as the foundation settles, Archangel Michael now turns your attention to the inner shifts that may feel unfamiliar. When alignment deepens, identity clarifies, and clarity can feel unsettling at first. You may notice that things you once tolerated now disturb your peace. Habits that once comforted you may now feel empty. This is not loss. This is refinement. Michael says refinement often feels like subtraction before it reveals itself as gain. Here is a quiet strengthening happening within you. It does not announce itself with excitement, but with resolve. You are beginning to say no without guilt and yes without fear. This is a sign that authority is returning to its rightful place. Authority does not shout. It stands. And as you stand more firmly, situations that once pushed against you will begin to adjust on their own. Beloved one, Archangel Michael reveals that your discernment is becoming sharper because your motives are becoming purer. When the heart is divided, perception blurs. When the heart is unified, truth becomes obvious. You are no longer driven by the need to prove, impress, or explain. This shift is subtle, but it is powerful. It frees energy that was once wasted on unnecessary battles. Now listen carefully. Michael says there will be moments in this season where you feel a pull to retreat completely, to isolate, to go silent. While solitude can be healthy, withdrawal is not the same as rest. Discern the difference. Rest restores you so you can return stronger. Withdrawal hides you from growth. Choose rest, not avoidance. You are learning to move with intention instead of impulse. This means pausing before responding, listening before reacting, observing before deciding. These pauses are not weakness, they are wisdom. Heaven often speaks in the space between action and reaction. Guard that space. Beloved child, you may also notice that some relationships feel different now. Not wrong, just different. Conversations may feel shallower. Shared interests may fade. Do not force reconnection out of nostalgia. Growth naturally changes alignment with others. Bless what was, appreciate what remains, and allow what no longer fits to complete its season peacefully. Archangel Michael emphasizes this truth. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming discerning. Discernment is not judgment. It is clarity. You are learning where your energy is meant to flow and where it is meant to stop. This protects your calling and preserves your peace. There is also a renewal happening in your confidence. Not loud confidence, but quiet certainty. You are beginning to trust your inner guidance again. That trust was shaken when the misalignment occurred, but it is being rebuilt now, stronger than before. Trust rose through consistency. Each aligned decision reinforces it. Beloved one, Michael cautions against overanalyzing every feeling during this time. Sensitivity increases during refinement, and not every emotion requires interpretation. Some feelings are simply passing signals, not prophetic warnings. Learn to observe without attaching meaning to everything. Peace comes from balance. You may feel drawn to simplify. Simplify your schedule. Simplify your commitments. Simplify your thoughts. This is not regression. It is optimization. Heaven often simplifies before it multiplies. What remains after simplification is what can be trusted. Archangel Michael also speaks about patience with yourself. Growth does not erase humanity. You will still have moments of doubt, fatigue, or frustration. These do not disqualify you. They invite compassion. Be as patient with yourself as heaven hath been with you. Beloved child, there is something important you must remember. Alignment does not mean life becomes effortless. It means effort becomes effective. You will still move, but now you move with purpose. You will still work, but now your work bears fruit. As this stage unfolds, resist the urge to look too far ahead. Stay present. Obedience is always required now, not later. The next step will reveal itself when the current one is fully lived. Archangel Michael stands steady beside you, not to rush you forward, but to ensure you do not drift backward. You are protected in this process. You are guided in this transition. And you are growing in ways that will soon become visible. Let this truth settle into your spirit. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to who you were always meant to be. And this return is only the beginning. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now brings your awareness to a critical shift that happens when inner alignment begins to mature into outward action. This is the stage where many feel stronger, clearer, and calmer. But it is also the stage where vigilance matters most. Strength invites responsibility. Clarity invites movement. Calm invites decision. Michael speaks here not to alarm you, but to anchor you. He says that now your words carry more weight than before. What you speak casually can take root quickly. What you declare intentionally can change atmosphere. This is why you must become more mindful of your language. Not perfect, but aware. Complaints, even small ones, weaken authority. Gratitude, even whispered, strengthens it. Choose your words as seeds because they will grow. Beloved child, you may notice that opportunities are beginning to present themselves again. Invitations, ideas, generians. Some will feel exciting. Others will feel heavy. Not every open door is meant to be walked through. Discernment is not about fear, it is about fit. Ask yourself not just, can I do this? But am I meant to do this now? Timing is as important as intention. Archangel Michael warns gently against rushing to prove that you are back on track. You owe no one a performance of growth. Real growth does not need applause. It produces consistency, not urgency. If you feel pressure to show results quickly, pause. That pressure is not from heaven. Heaven moves with purpose, not panic. There is also a lesson here about focus. Distraction will try to return, not as chaos but as harmless busyness. You may find yourself filling your schedule again, saying yes out of habit, overextending without noticing. Michael says this is where many undo what was just restored. Guard your focus fiercely. What you give your attention to, you give your energy to. Beloved one, remember this truth. Peace is a signal. When peace leaves, something is misaligned. Do not ignore that signal. You do not need to analyze it endlessly. Simply stop, reassess, and realign. Correction does not always require drama. Often it requires honesty. Archangel Michael also speaks about obedience in small things. Big spiritual moments are rare, but small daily choices shape destiny. How you begin your day, how you end your night, how you respond when tired, how you treat silence. These moments matter more than grand gestures. You are also being taught how to receive without suspicion. After correction, some people struggle to trust ease. When things begin to flow again, they wait for something to go wrong. Michael says let go of that mindset. Trust is part of faith. You are allowed to experience peace without bracing for impact. Beloved child, your influence is quietly expanding. People may come to you for clarity, comfort, or perspective. You do not need to have all the answers. Your presence alone carries reassurance. Speak only what you are given. Silence can be as powerful as speech. And I'll hear this carefully. If this message continues to resonate, it is because your spirit recognizes alignment. And others need this alignment too. When you like this message, share it, and leave a comment. You help extend this divine instruction to those who may never search for it on their own. Subscribe to this channel so you stay connected to these moments of guidance. And if you feel led, join the membership to stand with this mission consistently. These simple actions are not small. They are part of how light travels. Archangel Michael ends one more caution. Do not become overly self-focused in this season. Growth is not meant to turn inward permanently. What you are receiving is meant to flow outward at the right time. Stay open. Stay humble. Stay available. You may feel a deep sense of anticipation now. Something feels close but undefined. That feeling is real. It is not anxiety, it is readiness. Readiness does not demand immediate action. It waits with awareness. Before you move forward, hold on to this moment. What is about to be revealed next connects everything you have experienced so far in a way that brings surprising clarity. Keep listening. This is where understanding deepens and direction becomes unmistakable. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now draws your attention to the unseen architecture forming around your life. What you have corrected inwardly is beginning to manifest outwardly, but manifestation follows order, not impulse. This is the phase where structure matters. Michael speaks with calm authority because structure is what protects momentum from collapsing under its own weight. You may notice a renewed sense of responsibility rising within you, not pressure, but ownership. You are becoming more aware of what belongs to you to steward and what does not. This awareness brings peace because it removes unnecessary burdens. When you stop carrying what was never assigned to you, strength returns naturally. Archangel Michael reveals that this is a season of intentional placement. Where you go matters. Who you engage with matters. Even what you allow into your thoughts matters more than before. This is not restriction. It is refinement. Refinement ensures that what is built lasts. There is something important Michael wants you to understand about patience here. Patience is not waiting passively. It is actively trusting the process. You are not idle. You are being positioned. And positioning often feels slower than action because it requires precision. Heaven is precise with you because your purpose demands it. Beloved one, you may experience moments of stillness that feel unfamiliar. In those moments, resist the urge to fill the silence. Silence is not emptiness. It is instruction without words. Let it speak. Let it settle. Some answers arrive not as thoughts, but as calm certainty. Michael also speaks about discernment in relationships during this stage. You may feel drawn to distance yourself from certain conversations that revolve around fear, complaint, or confusion. This is not arrogance. It is wisdom. What you repeatedly listen to shapes your inner climate. Protect that climate. You are also learning to trust your pace. Not everyone moves at the same speed, and that is intentional. Comparing your progress to others will only distract you from your assignment. Heaven does not measure success by speed, but by alignment. You are exactly where you need to be. Beloved child, Archangel Michael says that what once felt fragile within you is becoming resilient. You are not as easily shaken by opinions or circumstances. This does not mean you care less. It means you are anchored more deeply. Anchors allow movement without drift. There may be moments when you reflect on the warning that began this journey and realize how much has already shifted. Let that realization strengthen your faith. You responded. You adjusted. You listened. That responsiveness is rare, and heaven honors it. Michael now addresses something subtle but important. Do not romanticize struggle. Growth does not require constant hardship. Peace is not a sign that something is wrong. It is often a sign that something is finally right. Allow yourself to enjoy stability without suspicion. As your confidence stabilizes, you may feel prompted to take small steps forward again. Not leaps, but steps. Follow those prompts gently. Overthinking will slow you. Trust will guide you. You do not need full visibility to move. You only need the next step. Beloved one, Archangel Michael also speaks about integrity. Integrity is alignment between belief and action. When your inner convictions match your outward behavior, strength multiplies. Pay attention to where small compromises try to sneak in. They often disguise themselves as convenience. Choose integrity, even when it is quiet and unseen. You are also being prepared to recognize when to act and when to wait. This discernment is learned through experience, not theory. Trust what you have learned. You have been trained by correction, refined by stillness, and strengthened by obedience. There is a sense of readiness building now. Not urgency, but readiness. Readiness is calm, focused, and alert. It does not rush. It observes. It listens. It responds when the moment arrives. Beloved child, Archangel Michael stands steady, not because danger is near, but because transition is delicate. Transitions require guardianship. You are being watched over as you cross from correction into confirmation. Let this truth settle deeply. You are no longer repairing damage. You are reinforcing strength. What was misaligned has been restored. What was uncertain has been clarified. What was heavy hath been lifted. Stay grounded. Stay attentive. What unfolds next will feel natural, not forced. And when it comes, you will recognize it, not because it is loud, but because it fits. Beloved soul, Archangel Michael now brings you to a moment of confirmation. This is the stage where heaven answers the silent question you have been carrying in your heart. Did I respond correctly? Michael's presence feels steadier now, not urgent, not warning, assuring. He says the atmosphere around you has changed because your obedience was received. What you adjusted internally has been registered externally in the spiritual realm. You may begin to notice signs that feel personal. Not dramatic, but specific. A word that repeats. A thought that settles instead of spiraling. A sense of calm that arrives without explanation. These are confirmations, not coincidences. Heaven often confirms quietly when trust has been established. Loud signs are for those who doubt. Subtle assurance is for those who listen. Archangel Michael reveals that your discernment is now operating at a higher level because fear has loosened its grip. Fear distorts perception. Peace sharpens it. You are no longer asking, what if everything goes wrong? You are beginning to ask, what if this is finally aligned? That shift alone changes outcomes. Beloved one, you are stepping into a phase where restraint becomes a strength. You no longer feel the need to react to everything or respond to every opinion. Silence, when chosen wisely, protects momentum. Michael says this restraint is not weakness, it is mastery. Mastery over impulse. Mastery over emotion. Mastery over timing. There is also a new clarity forming around your priorities. What once felt urgent now feels optional. What once felt confusing now feels simple. This is not because life became easier, but because your vision became clearer. Clear vision reduces unnecessary struggle. Archangel Michael wants you to understand something important here. The warning that began this journey was never meant to stop you. It was meant to stabilize you. Now that stability has been restored, you are trusted with more. More insight. More influence. More responsibility. Not all at once, but progressively. You may feel a renewed desire to protect what has been rebuilt. That is healthy. Guard your peace without becoming rigid. Flexibility with boundaries is wisdom. Rigidity creates fear. Discernment creates freedom. Stay flexible but anchored. Beloved child, Michael says the next phase of your life will require consistency more than intensity. Intensity burns fast. Consistency builds legacy. Show up steadily. Pray steadily. Choose wisely steadily. This is how what you have received becomes permanent. You are also being reminded not to isolate your testimony. What you have learned is meant to encourage others, not just protect you. Share wisdom when prompted, not when pressured. Timing matters. Words released too early lose impact. Archangel Michael acknowledges your courage. It takes courage to pause, to admit misalignment, and to adjust without guarantees. That courage hath been noted. Heaven honors responsiveness more than perfection. Now receive this assurance deeply. The danger is past, not because it was ignored, but because it was addressed. The window of correction was used wisely. Peace is returning because order has been restored. Let this truth settle into your spirit. You are no longer standing at the edge of error. You are standing in alignment. From here, movement becomes purposeful again. Type "I walk in alignment" in the comments if your spirit receives this confirmation. Blessing code 2916 has now been activated over your path. And as this confirmation settles, hear this invitation as a continuation of the message, not a pause from it. I am speaking to those whose hearts are burning to help this word reach others who are still standing at the edge of confusion. When you release support through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are planting seed into ground God Himself has prepared. The Lord says, "As you strengthen my voice, I will strengthen your foundation." This is not charity. This is obedience responding to alignment. Act while the prompting is fresh, not later. I speak blessing over every giver, that peace will guard your home and clarity will mark your decisions. Step forward now and do what the Spirit is urging you to do. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now turns your gaze toward the horizon of what is unfolding next. This is not a leap into the unknown, but a steady walk into prepared ground. What once felt uncertain now begins to feel ordered, not because every detail is visible, but because your spirit recognizes stability. Michael's presence here is firm and reassuring, like a guard at the gate who knows the path ahead is secure. You may notice that your reactions to challenges have changed. Situations that once unsettled you no longer carry the same weight. This is not numbness. It is maturity. When alignment settles deeply, emotional storms lose their power to dictate direction. You are learning to respond from wisdom instead of impulse, and that shift alone changes outcomes more than you realize. Archangel Michael reveals that this is a season of discerned action. Action, not striving. Movement, not rushing. You will be prompted to take steps that feel simple but intentional. Do not underestimate small obediences. Heaven often hides great momentum inside ordinary-looking steps. What matters now is not size, but precision. Beloved child, there may be moments where you look back at who you were even a short time ago and feel a quiet astonishment. The anxiety that once felt constant is no longer leading your thoughts. The confusion that once lingered has thinned. This is not because life became easier, but because you became steadier. Stability within changes how everything outside is experienced. Michael also speaks about trust at this stage. Trust not just in God, but in what God has rebuilt within you. Self-doubt often tries to return disguised as humility. True humility accepts growth without apology. You are allowed to trust the clarity you have gained. You are allowed to walk forward without second-guessing every decision. Here is something important Archangel Michael wants you to release now: the need for constant reassurance. Signs served their purpose earlier, but now discernment takes the lead. Faith matures when it no longer requires constant confirmation. Peace becomes the indicator. When peace is present, alignment is near. Beloved one, you may also notice that your sense of purpose feels quieter but stronger. Purpose does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it settles like a deep current beneath calm water. That quiet strength is what sustains long journeys. Do not mistake silence for absence. God often works most deeply when things are calm. Archangel Michael cautions against revisiting old narratives. Do not define yourself by the mistake that was corrected. That chapter is complete. Returning to it only reopens what has already been healed. You are not the sum of what went wrong. You are the result of what was restored. This is also a time to be mindful of how you steward peace. Peace is not passive. It requires protection. Be selective with what you consume, what you entertain, and what you dwell on mentally. Not out of fear, but out of respect for what hath been rebuilt. Beloved child, you may feel a renewed sense of gratitude rising naturally. Gratitude now flows without effort because you recognize what could have happened and what was prevented. Let gratitude remain active. It keeps the heart soft and the spirit receptive. Archangel Michael also speaks about endurance. Not endurance through hardship, but endurance through consistency. Showing up aligned day after day is more challenging than surviving crisis. Yet this is where real strength is forged. Choose consistency even when things feel ordinary. Ordinary obedience produces extraordinary stability. You are also being prepared to recognize when a new assignment begins. It will not arrive with pressure or panic. It will arrive with clarity and peace. You will know because it will fit the alignment you have already established. Anything that requires you to abandon peace to pursue it is not from heaven. Beloved one, understand this deeply. You are not waiting for permission anymore. Alignment has already granted it. What you need now is attentiveness, not approval. Heaven has trusted you with discernment. Use it gently, confidently, and without fear. As this message continues to unfold, feel the steadiness in your spirit. The urgency that once drove you has been replaced with assurance. The warning that once shook you has done its work. What remains is direction. Archangel Michael stands watchful still, not to correct, but to confirm. You are walking forward rightly, and what remains to be revealed will arrive at the proper time, in the proper way, without striving. Stay attentive. The final confirmations are approaching, and they will complete what began with a warning and matured into wisdom. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks with a tone of quiet authority because you are standing at a threshold where awareness must become practice. What you have received so far was revelation. What comes now is integration. Integration is where truth becomes habit, and habit becomes protection. Many receive insight, but few allow it to reshape how they live daily. Michael says this is the moment where your consistency matters more than your emotion. You may feel a sense of normalcy returning, and that is intentional. Alignment is not meant to feel dramatic forever. It is meant to feel stable, grounded, and sustainable. When things begin to feel normal again, do not assume the process has ended. This is actually proof that restoration has taken hold. Peace that stays is stronger than peace that suppresses. Archangel Michael brings your attention to your daily rhythms. How you wake, how you transition between tasks, how you close your day. These small, repeated moments now act as anchors. When your rhythms are steady, your spirit remains steady. Disorder in routine eventually invites disorder in thought. Order protects clarity. Beloved one, there is a temptation at this stage to relax discernment because the danger feels distant. Michael warns gently against this, not because harm is near, but because maintenance is required. Just as a house must be kept after it is repaired, alignment must be tended after it is restored. This is not work born of fear, it is stewardship born of wisdom. You are also learning how to engage the world without absorbing its chaos. This is maturity. You can listen without being pulled. You can observe without being shaken. You can participate without compromising peace. This balance did not come overnight. It was forged through correction, humility, and responsiveness. Archangel Michael says something important here. You are no longer easily deceived by urgency. Urgency once pushed you into misalignment. Now you recognize when something demands haste without peace. You are learning to pause, even when others rush. But pause is a shield. Beloved child, there may be moments when you feel tempted to revisit old coping mechanisms during stress. Familiar responses often resurface when pressure increases. When that happens, do not judge yourself. Simply choose differently. Growth is not proven by never feeling tempted, but by responding with awareness. Michael also speaks about responsibility to the message you have received. Revelation carries weight. What you have learned is not meant to stay dormant. It shapes how you speak, how you decide, and how you guide others when asked. You do not need to preach. Live a line, and your life will speak clearly. Now hear this clearly and calmly. If this message has been walking with you, shaping your thoughts and steadying your spirit, then you already know it is meant to reach further than you alone. When you like this video, share it, and leave a comment, you help this word find others who are still standing where you once stood. Subscribe to this channel so you remain connected to these moments of clarity, and if you feel called, join the membership to stand consistently with this mission. These actions are not routine. They are part of how alignment multiplies. Archangel Michael adds a gentle reminder here. Do not drift now. Not because something bad will happen, but because something good is being prepared. Preparation seasons require attentiveness. Hold on, because what is coming next ties together the warning, the correction, and the confirmation into one final understanding that brings deep peace. Beloved one, you are learning the difference between control and trust. Control exhausts. Trust sustains. You no longer need to grip outcomes tightly. Alignment has already set direction. Your role now is faithfulness in the present. There is also a growing sense of authority in how you carry yourself. You do not need to announce it. Others will sense it. Calm authority draws respect without effort. This authority flows from inner order, not outer dominance. Archangel Michael wants you to release one last thing in this stage: the fear of repeating the same mistake. Fear keeps attention backward. Wisdom keeps attention present. You have learned. You have adjusted. You are not walking blind anymore. As this part settles, feel the steadiness within you. The urgency has softened into readiness. The warning has matured into wisdom. You are not waiting for something to happen. You are prepared for when it does. Stay attentive. The closing revelation is near, and it will seal everything you have received with purpose and peace. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now speaks with a depth that reaches beyond instruction and into assurance. This is the stage where understanding settles fully into the heart. Not as information, but as knowing. You are no longer processing what happened. You are embodying what was learned. This is the difference between hearing truth and becoming rooted in it. Michael says this is where many finally realize that the warning was never about danger alone. It was about preservation. Preservation of peace. Preservation of calling. Preservation of timing. What was protected during that moment of correction will now begin to show its value. You may suddenly recognize how close you were to unnecessary loss, not because you were careless, but because you were stretched thin. Heaven stepped in before strain became fracture. Beloved child, there is a calm confidence growing within you now. It does not demand validation. It does not rush explanation. It simply exists. This confidence is the result of alignment holding over time. When alignment lasts, it transforms into stability. And stability creates trust, both within yourself and in how others perceive you. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that your spiritual posture has changed. You are no longer leaning forward anxiously, trying to anticipate every outcome. You are standing upright, grounded, alert, but at peace. This posture allows you to respond wisely rather than react emotionally. It also allows heaven to work around you without resistance. You may notice that clarity now comes faster. Decisions that once took days of overthinking now settle quickly. This does not mean you are being careless. It means your discernment is sharper. When inner noise fades, guidance becomes easier to recognize. Beloved one, Michael also speaks about gratitude again, but with a deeper meaning. Gratitude now is not just thankfulness for what was fixed, but appreciation for who you are becoming. Growth deserves acknowledgement. Honor the discipline it took to pause. Honor the humility it took to adjust. Honor the patience it took to wait. There is also a sense of quiet authority in how you handle uncertainty now. You no longer panic when answers are delayed. You trust that clarity arrives when needed, not always when desired. This trust frees you from forcing outcomes. What is forced often fractures, what is trusted unfolds. Archangel Michael reveals that you are entering a phase where your life becomes an example, not a warning. Others may not know your full story, but they will notice your steadiness. They will sense your peace. They will feel safe around your presence. This is influence without effort. Beloved child, do not underestimate the power of embodying wisdom. Words can inspire, but lived alignment transforms. You are carrying something now that cannot be taught quickly. It can only be lived. And because you lived it, you can carry it gently. There may still be moments when old thoughts attempt to surface, questioning whether this peace will last. When that happens, do not argue with the thought. Simply return to presence. Peace is not maintained by fighting fear, but by staying grounded in now. Michael also says something important here. The season of constant self-examination is ending. Not because awareness is no longer needed, but because trust has been restored. You can move forward without checking every step in fear of misalignment. You are walking with awareness now, not anxiety. Beloved one, your relationship with time has changed. You no longer feel chased by it. You understand that timing is not an enemy to outrun, but a partner to respect. This shift removes pressure and restores joy in the process. Archangel Michael stands with you in this moment not as a messenger of warning, but as a witness of completion. What needed to be corrected hath been corrected. What needed to be stabilized hath been stabilized. What needed to be taught has been received. Now, all that remains is continuation. Not dramatic, not rushed. Just faithful continuation. Day by day. Choice by choice. Presence by presence. As this part settles, let yourself feel the quiet satisfaction of alignment holding. This is not the end of the journey, but it is the end of that particular cycle. A new chapter waits, not with urgency, but with readiness. Stay grounded. Stay attentive. What closes next will not bring new instruction, but final sealing, so that what was restored remains unshaken. Precious child, Archangel Michael now speaks for the final time in this sequence, not with warning, not with correction, but with sealing authority. What began as an interruption now concludes as an establishment. Heaven does not end things abruptly, it completes them with intention. This moment is a seal placed upon everything you have received, understood, and lived through. Michael says the alignment you stepped into is no longer fragile. It has settled into your spirit, into your thinking, into your posture. You are not standing on borrowed strength anymore. You are standing on cultivated wisdom. wisdom earned through listening when it was uncomfortable, adjusting when it required humility, and waiting when impatience tempted you to rush. Beloved one, understand this deeply. The danger spoken of at the beginning no longer has access to you. Not because it vanished on its own, but because you closed the door consciously. Awareness shut what ignorance left open. Obedience sealed what delay had loosened. It is power, not loud power, but lasting power. Archangel Michael declares that from this point forward, discernment will rise before disruption. You will sense misalignment early, long before it becomes heavy. This is one of the rewards of correction received properly. You no longer need drastic warnings, because subtle guidance will be enough. Heaven trusts your sensitivity now. You may notice that your inner world feels quieter than it used to. Fewer arguments within. Less second-guessing. Less internal pressure. This quiet is not emptiness. It is order. Order allows joy to return naturally. Not forced joy, not emotional highs, but steady contentment. Beloved child, Michael wants you to remember this moment in the future, not as fear, but as reference. When challenges arise later, you will remember that alignment works, that correction protects, and that obedience brings peace. Memory becomes a shield when faith is tested. There is also a release happening now. Release from self-blame. Release from spiritual anxiety. Release from the belief that one mistake can undo everything. That belief never came from heaven. Growth includes learning. Maturity includes mercy. You have been granted both. Archangel Michael speaks about legacy now. Not legacy as in status, but legacy as in stability passed on to others. The way you now carry peace will affect those connected to you. Calm spreads. Alignment influences. Your life will quietly teach others what words cannot. Beloved one, do not rush to label what comes next. Simply live aligned. Purpose reveals itself naturally when peace is present. When the time comes to act, you will know, not because you are pressured, but because you are ready. Michael also says this: you are no longer under warning, you are under covering. Covering that remains because alignment remains. Protection follows order, and order has been restored. As this message closes, let gratitude rise, not as an obligation, but as recognition. You were guided. You responded. You grew. That matters. Type "I am sealed in peace" in the comments if you receive this completion in your spirit. Blessing code 8081 has now been released and sealed over your life. And now, hear this final word as a continuation of the divine flow, not a separation from it. I am speaking to those who feel the weight and beauty of what has been released here and know it must reach further. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding content. You are fueling a river of light that reaches homes, hearts, and moments just like yours. The Lord says, as you help my word travel, I will make sure nothing meant for you is delayed. This is a prophetic act of obedience, not a suggestion. Those who sow here will reap peace, protection, and clarity in their own foundations. Do it now, with faith and decisiveness, and let heaven respond to your obedience. The message is complete. The alignment is sealed. Walk forward in peace.